Schoology is one of the major ways that you can help your student be successful at Metro. Schoology is where we store all the day-to-day items. And so I'm going to show you from a parent's perspective how to get onto Schoology and how to find what you need to find. Okay? So we talked a little bit ago. If you look up at the top right, your name is in the top right, and you can see the students' names. We talked about adding a child. So if you're going to look at what's happening, you're going to need to pretend to be your student. So Schoology knows it's not you, but you're kind of putting on a little pretend thing. So you're going to click on a student's name. Okay, so when you click on a student's name, this is what comes up. And we're going to break this down. I know it's kind of hard to see, but this is what your screen looks like. Your child's name will be up here at the top right. Right here would be your child's name. Okay, and it lets you know that you're doing it as your child. Okay, so we're going to break this down piece by piece, what all this stuff means, so you can find what you need. So first we're going to start with this over here, number 1 and number 2. It's the big part of your screen. Number 1 is recent activities. So this is where you're going to find messages sent from your teacher to your students. So you can see that I sent an update to my students that told them what was going on. So you can click here to find out what happened in class today. What homework do they have today? Sometimes they also send messages just for the good of everybody. If you click the course dashboard, which is the next one right beside it, this will get you to each student's class. Okay, so this is how you get into the actual classes. This recent update will give you a little bit of information of what's happening. The classes will get you into everything that's going on. Okay, so once you get into the class, so you're going to click on a class, this is where it's going to give you all the stuff that tells you what the student needs to do and the information to do it. This is where the teacher, this is almost like a file box or a bookshelf. Okay, so this is where everything is stored for your student. Each class will have units. And then in that unit, they'll have foundational and a homework folder. This is where anything goes in that will not be counted towards the grade, but it's things that they need to do to learn and to practice the process. So if you click on that button that's green, it says foundational, it'll open up all the assignments that your students need to be doing for practicing. The next button down, the next one is the yellow one right there. That's the daily lessons and resources. If you click on that, that's going to open up things like PowerPoint presentations, websites that are going to help your students, videos. So these are like resources to teach them how to do the homework or the foundational. And then the mastery, which is orange, when you open that up, that's going to give you the assignments the teacher is actually grading to go towards the grade of your student. Sometimes there will be the little box, which means that it's a homework assignment and they can submit something. Sometimes it'll be like a puzzle. That means that it's like a test or a quiz. And then the last one I didn't put on here to open up because I don't have anything in there yet, but if your child needs to do remediation, you'll click on that red box and the information for the remediation will be in there. Every teacher will have it set up this way. Okay, so this is going to give you the information that you need if you're really trying to find out how to do something with your student. Here's this assignment. We don't know how to do it. Okay, that's what that is. And that you found, again, by clicking on number 2 and then clicking on a class. All right, so then when we look at number 3, 4, and 5 are over here on the right. This is your quick look, your quick checking in. Okay, number 3 is things that recently happened. This will, you'll be able to click on here and see any assignments that were recently graded, any assignments that were recently turned in, so anything that recently happened. If you look on at number 4, that's where we're going to look next. This one is one that we really want you to know. 4 and 5 are about what they need to be doing or what they didn't do. So you can see 4 is what's overdue. So I haven't done any of these assignments that were due the 21st, the 25th, and the 4th. And if I did them, I didn't turn them in. Okay, because your student will say, well, I did that. And you can click on those spots right there and they can turn them in right there. It will take them to the actual assignment so they'll know what to do and they can turn it in right there. So it's a nice, easy way to get to it. Same thing with what's upcoming. So these 2 assignments are due Friday and Monday. And so if I want my students to find out what they're doing, or if I want to help them see what the progress is or what the instructions are, I click on that little Lexia check-in, and it will take me to the assignment so that I can see what needs to happen, and I can help them to submit things. So that's going to be your 4 and 5. That's over on the right here. That tells you information that's a quick lookup. The 1 and 2 are the more in-depth things. Okay. When you look at 6, 7, and 8, we're going to kind of look at those. 6 and 7 are just to get you the courses. So that's another way that you can look to see what classes the students are in. So instead of clicking on assignments, you can just click directly on the courses. Okay. Groups are another. We have groups that are not classes. So if your student is in a club, I know right now we're not doing clubs, but when we were back in the building, we're doing clubs. If you're in a club and they may have a group that's sent to them, that's opened up for them so they can share things. We also use it a lot of times for when we do design challenges. So your student doesn't have any groups right now, but they may have groups in the future. Okay, so both of those will get you to those. And again, the courses look just like what we saw over here. So when we look at number 8, this is one you really want to know about because this is grades, right? Okay, so you want to see how those grades are and what they're looking at. So if you click on grades, there's actually a drop-down box. Okay, so we're going to look at number 1 first. This is the grade report. Okay, when you open up the grade report, it will show you all the classes that they have down here at the bottom. It will show you all the classes they have. So to look at the classes, you're going to click on the hyperlink. I chose to look at the Modern Classics. It opened the Modern Classics up. Okay, so there's several different things to look at when you're looking at what's on this grade report. Okay, so here is the overall grade, the fall 2020. My overall grade currently is a 0. Not so good. Okay, my overall grade is a 0. Then you have foundational. Remember, those are the assignments that build to help your student learn or practice. Okay, so they will be graded. You can see that this one was graded here. I got a 15 out of 15 on it. But they don't actually count toward the final grade because I'm practicing. So if I make a mistake, then I can look at it and practice it. Okay, so that's what the M and the 15 out of 15 means. I got everything right on that one. It's all good to go. My practice went well. I don't need to do anything else. If you look down here at the syllabus scavenger, if you look on here, you'll see that it has a WIP and a 5. And Mrs. Anthony will go into more detail about what each of these mean. But basically for what we're talking about, a WIP means a work in progress. That means that I turned it in, I tried, I got half of them right, I got a 5 out of 10, but there are things that I need to work on, things that I need to learn that I haven't learned yet. And this is exactly why we do foundational assignments, so we can learn those. And then if you look at this right here, I have, it says a WIP here, or sometimes it'll say a DNA. Okay, depending on where you're looking, it also says a DNA. That means they didn't turn it in. So when you look at these, you can kind of tell what they've got and what they need to do. When they're doing this down here is the mastery. These are the grades that count towards the final grade. Okay, and I obviously have a 0, which is the same as the fall up here, because the teacher hasn't graded the Lexia check-in. So if you look at the Lexia check-in, there is a dash. That means that the teacher put the assignment in, but they haven't looked at it yet. So you don't know for sure if your student turned it in or not. By looking on this page, you don't know that because the teacher just hasn't graded it. So that's not a bad thing. All right. And then, of course, down here, they did grade this one, and the teacher didn't turn it in, which is why we have a 0 because we only have 1 grade. Okay, so this is another way for you to kind of tell what needs to happen. Remediation normally will come out of these mastery grades down here. So I, as a student, would have to remediate the reading log 1. Then I would go to that remediation folder to find out what I need to do. Okay, so that's the grades, how you find the grades. You also go up here, there's another section in the grades, which is mastery. We are working on transferring from total grades to mastery. So being able to prove that you know the standards. So that's a little bit different than the mastery we do now. If you want to know what your child knows, beyond they can do a project or they passed a test, if you want to actually know what type of things they've learned, you can click on the mastery here. It opens up the standard that has been taught, and it will show you whether or not they've mastered it. So I have not mastered both of these literacy standards. I have not mastered them. You can see this one has a green star. That means the assignment I mastered, but there's not enough of them. I have to have more than one assignment to prove that I know it. And so eventually that will become an M. Okay, this one, there's been no assignments or I haven't mastered them yet. So that's just to kind of give you an idea of what your student is actually learning, but when they're doing that project that's called reading log, or when they're doing that project that's called mitochondria, or, to give you an idea of what they're actually learning. And then the last one down here is attendance. We do not do attendance on Schoology, so that one will not really benefit you at all. The final thing that you would want to know about is number 9 up here. It looks like what it is, a calendar. And as a teacher, I love the calendar, especially as an 8th grade teacher. So when you click on that button, a calendar pulls up. You can choose month, week, or day. So you can choose what you want right here. And then you'll see there's different colored things on here. So what I did was I came over to 2 out of 4 calendars. I clicked on that, and I added all my classes. Okay, so I have 2 classes right now. I have the advisory, and I have my modern classics class. So that's why I have 2 things out here. So I have this assignment right here is due on the 11th, and it shows me right on here that it's due on the 11th. Down here is an advisory assignment that's due on the 28th. So this is an overall picture of what's going on in your class. So this assignment down here that's due on the 30th of the month has been given to them quite a while ago. That's because it's going to take them a while to do this assignment. And so this, this kind of gives you an overview, parents, of, oh, this and this and this is coming up. Are you studying for this? Are you working on this project? Oh, this is due tomorrow. Yes, that's important. But we also want to look at things that are long-term, and this really helps with that. All of their classes will show up on here as long as they've picked their classes up here in the calendar. They'll all show up here, and it's a really great way to see little bit by bit what's going on and what's happening. That's a quick overview of how to understand Schoology. And then if you have more than one child, you just go and click on that child's name, and the process is the same. All right, thank you.